Hello and welcome back. In the previous video, we tried to understand the fundamental definition of what Apache Kafka is all about. In this video, we are going to first understand what problem are we trying to solve. This takes us back to the event-driven architecture basics. Hence, let us try to understand this first. So, we have a system A. The system A can be anything. It can be a microservice, an IoT device, or any application that emits an event. Now, this event has to be processed by system B. Why does it have to be processed by system B? Because system B would need this information further to be processed and sent out or being stored, which system X is going to consume. Now, after system B consumes the event 1, it has to send out a message to system A that have consumed this message. And this is what we call as a processed event. Now, this is a cycle, as you can see. Now, imagine this at scale. We have system A that is emitting not one, but n number of events at a given point of time. Then we have system B, which has to process all of these n events at a given point of time without failing any of these events. Then system X is going to consume it. But the work doesn't stop here. System B also needs to send back the event response to system A. Now, all of this at scale is going to put so much load on our systems. We might have issues when processing these events, or we might have issues when sending back the processed events to system A. Well, this is exactly where Apache Kafka comes into picture. But before that, let us try to understand what are the pitfalls in an event-driven architecture. In an event-driven architecture, services can become so intervened that they start hindering the updates and flexibilities. When services are too dependent on each other, making changes or scaling them becomes a nightmare. Think of a major e-commerce platform like Amazon. If their order processing system is too tightly coupled with their payment system, updating one could break the other, causing delays or even outages during peak shopping seasons like Black Fridays. So keeping these connections loose or modular is key to avoiding this pitfall. Next, we have got reduced scalability. Event-driven system can struggle to handle growing data and user demands, especially if there are too many interdependencies. Picture this. You are at a concert and the sound system can't keep up with the crowd's cheer. It starts cracking and failing. That's what happens when an event-driven system can't scale efficiently. A classic example is social media platforms like Twitter. Back in the day, they faced scalability issues during major events like Super Bowl when millions of tweets flooded at once. If the architecture wasn't designed to scale horizontally, the system would buckle under the pressure. Avoiding tight interdependencies and designing for growth is crucial here. Now let's talk about a single point of failure. If one service goes down in an event-driven system, the whole thing can crumble like dominoes. It's a scary thought, right? This is why redundancies and fault tolerance are so important. Think about a cloud-based service like Netflix. If their event-driven recommendation engine fails because of one critical component crashes, users might not get personalized suggestions, or worst, the streaming could stop. Well, that's a big deal for millions of viewers. Designing systems with backups and fail-safes can prevent this domino effect and keep everything running smoothly. And here is a big one. No message persistence. If events aren't stored or persisted over time, your risk of losing critical data and creating inconsistencies is higher. Imagine sending an important email, but it vanishes into thin air before it gets delivered. Well, in real world, financial systems often rely on event-driven architectures. For instance, a stock trading platform needs to ensure every trade event is recorded and persist, or you could end up with a lost transaction and major financial headaches. Adding persistence mechanism like message queues or databases can save the day and keep your data safe. Finally, we have to talk about the limited functionality. Without advanced features for reliable and efficient event handling, you might miss out a full potential of event-driven architecture. It's like driving a car without GPS or a turbo engine. You're getting there, but not as fast and as efficient as you should. Consider a logistic company like FedEx. Their tracking system relies on event-driven architecture to update package statuses in real time. If the system lacks advanced features like real-time analytics or error recovery, customers might lose critical update, leading to frustration. Investing in robust tools and features can unlock the true power of this architecture. And there you have it, the top pitfalls of event-driven architecture and how to stay clear from them. Well, now that we have understood this, let us go back to our architecture. So we have system A, which sends out an event, but this time it sends out an event to Kafka. The work of system A is done. Then we have system X and system B, who can independently consume this message from Kafka. System A doesn't need to be aware of where it is sending the data, in the sense if it is sending data to system B or system X. The work of system A just finishes the moment it sends out the data to Kafka successfully. Similar way, system X and system B doesn't need to be aware where the event is coming from for them to be processed. All they care is to make sure that the event they need is present in Kafka and it is coming. Once we get the event, system B can process it and mark it as a processed event. Well, now I hope you understand how Kafka is turned as a backbone for an event-driven architecture. Well, with this feature, how does it make a big difference? Let us try to understand that now. Well, Kafka brings in some incredible strengths to the table. Let's dive into its key features one by one and see why it's such a game changer. First up, the high throughput. Kafka is designed to handle massive event streams with ease, ensuring no messages gets left behind. Whether you are dealing with thousands or millions of events per second, Kafka keeps the data flowing smoothly and efficiently. Next, we have fault tolerance. Kafka distributed architecture guarantees resilience and high availability, even with failures. If one part of the system goes down, Kafka ensures your data stays safe and your system keeps running. Now let's talk about scalability. Kafka enables instant data to effortlessly scale to meet growing demands without service disruption. As your system grows, Kafka grows with it, maintaining performance and keeping everything running seamlessly. Is the perfect solution for evolving needs. Finally, we have got real-time processing. Kafka's low latency stream processing enables instant data insights and actions. With Kafka, you can react to events as they happen, delivering up to the second response and keeping your system agile and responsive. And that wraps up our deep dive into Kafka's role as a backbone of event-driven architecture. It's pretty powerful, right?